The S&P 500 market index has made a remarkable 8% gain year to date, but in spite of all these gains, millions of investors worldwide are worried about the possibility of a stock market crash in 2026. And so if you find yourself in that situation, then this video is for you, because in today's video, we are looking at analyzing two main reports from two major players from Wall Street, that is JPMorgan and then Goldman Sachs. And if you're new here, my name is Nana. I hold a master's degree in business finance, and on this channel, we discuss everything personal finance and personal development. But before we dive deeper, let me acknowledge the fact that your fears are not out of touch with reality, simply because several analysts are projecting that currently our forward price to earnings ratio is around about 21 times as compared to 18.9 times over the last 10 years. So what that simply means for the average person is that for every 21 pounds or $21 that you invest in the stock market, you're looking at a projected earning of £1 or $1 equivalent as compared to the 21 pounds or $21 that you initially invested. And that is mind-blowing. It actually goes on to cement the fact and the belief that there are several stocks on the stock market that are quite overvalued, and in time, possibly within the next couple of years or next couple of months, we're likely going to see a correction, which means that several stocks would actually lose their value or the prices would tank, thereby resulting in millions and possibly billions of losses on the US stock market. And so without further ado, we come first of all to analyze the projections of Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is projecting that by year end, the target is going to be around about 6,600 points. That is significantly higher than what we are currently seeing on the US stock market insofar as the S&P 500 is concerned. And that is a very massive and very progressive projection. That simply means that there's nothing to actually simply worry about in the stock market insofar as investing money into the S&P 500 is concerned. And they further argue that that is simply mainly because of three things. That is, one, expected earnings growth. So Goldman Sachs is projecting that most companies are actually going to see a very massive spike in terms of their earnings in the year 2026, which is a positive news for people, because generally when companies earn more, that is when eventually the price of stock actually shoots up, thereby increasing your gains in the stock market altogether. Secondly, Goldman Sachs is attributing the massive gains in the S&P 500 and the stock market in the US altogether to one thing, and that is artificial intelligence. They are projecting an excess of $670 billion in investment in AI companies in 2026 alone. And they go on further to state that about 40% of the earnings increase insofar as the S&P 500 is concerned and the stock market as a whole would actually be coming from AI companies. And so that is a very positive news. That is a time for you to actually do more research and then choose several other stocks or rebalance your portfolio to include some AI stocks that can also position you in a very favorable way to take advantage of this growth altogether. Lastly, Goldman Sachs is attributing the gains in the S&P 500 and the stock market to one thing, and that is market broadening. That is, they believe that the traditional companies in the traditional sectors of the stock market, like healthcare, like services sectors, like the insurance industry and stuff like that, would rebound in 2026 and also drive some level of growth. Because what we've seen over the past 3 years, several investments in AI and tech-related companies, and that is what has mainly driven the stock market growth. But as opposed to that, Goldman Sachs is arguing that this year there's going to be market broadening, which is good news because most people can also take advantage of the growth in these traditional companies that are into consumer staples, healthcare, and several other conservative industries that most investors actually resort to in times of economic turmoil. In a like manner, JPMorgan is also making an end-of-year target projection of 7,200 as opposed to 7,600 by Goldman Sachs. And their reason is simple. The reason why they are projecting relatively lower than Goldman Sachs is because of a couple of things that are currently happening in the macroeconomy. The first thing that they argue about is the tariffs. So last year, if we would all recall, there were tariff wars between mainly US and China, which subsequently led to an extension to even European countries and several US allies like Canada and Australia. But in spite of all of these things, JP Morgan is projecting that by July this year, about 67% of the losses or the cost as a result of the US tariffs on several other nations worldwide would actually be felt by the average household. And that is, we're looking at anywhere between $670 to $1,340 on average. That is an increase that people and households are likely going to pay as a result of Trump's tariffs that were slapped on several imports and exports in the US last year, 2025. And so that is one thing that you have to consider. Secondly, what they are also arguing that led to them cutting down their end of year target is simply because of inflation. As a result of all these tariffs coming back to the households and people making hefty payments as opposed to what they traditionally pay insofar as their basic needs like rent, gas and electric is concerned, now people are going to pay more, which means that inflation is going to rise marginally. Inflation in 2026 has really hovered around 3 and 3.5%. As at the time that I was shooting this video, inflation had risen in the US marginally to 3.8%. And in the UK, we are looking at around about 3.3%, which is about 1.3 percentage points above the Bank of England's projection that they really want to use to drive down inflation and ease up the economy and ensure growth altogether. Thirdly, the reason why JPMorgan cut their end-of-year projected target was simply because of the rising price of fuel at the pumps, and that is simply because of the war between Israel, Iran, and the US. So on the 28th of February, the US and Israel launched a joint military attack on Iran, and that subsequently led to the killing of Iran's supreme leader. Now, in retaliation, Iran launched several horizontal military attacks on several US bases within the Middle East sub-region. But one thing that they also went ahead to do is to blockade the Strait of Hormuz, thereby seizing up to 25% of the world's oil supply globally and about 1/3 of the entire world's supply of fertilizer to several industrial companies that are into the growth and possibly the processing of food products at the end of the day. So that actually came as a massive hit to several companies worldwide, including insurance companies abstaining from insuring cargo vessels that were sailing through the Strait of Hormuz. So this is why JPMorgan is projecting that it might, within the shortest possible time, have a very negative impairment on the growth of S&P 500 companies. And that is why it is cutting its projected end-of-year target to 7,200 as opposed to 7,600 by Goldman Sachs. And so in summary, these two major players in Wall Street are agreeing on one thing, and that is positive projected gains by year end in the S&P 500 and the US stock market. However, if you're still skeptical about these projections and you want to put measures in place to protect your portfolio and your hard-earned money, then I recommend a couple of things. The first thing that you can do is to diversify your income streams by way of diversifying your portfolio. So the one thing that you can do is to rebalance your portfolio to include traditional sectors of the economy like healthcare, like consumer staples and all of those things. So what you want to do is to buy shares or diversify by way of placing some funds into these traditional companies that are really resilient to several economic turmoil. And in the unfortunate event of a stock market crash, you know that you still have something to fall back on. Secondly, what you want to do is to build a cash buffer. And the cash buffer, for the avoidance of doubt, according to experts, should be able to cover anywhere between 1 and then 12 months of your living expenses. Now, by doing so, you cause yourself to be advantaged in two positions. That is, one, it avoids any emotional purchases and emotional sales in the unfortunate event of a stock market crash. Because what actually leads to people losing money in the stock market is the fact that they really sell when the prices tank. And that is the point that, according to Warren Buffett, who happens to be the most successful investor of all time, you should actually be buying more stock. And so he goes on to advise that you should be skeptical or careful when people are greedy, and you've got to be greedy when people are careful. And so that is the point that you have to know, that you keep some excess funds at your disposal in order to rush in, and then also secondly, buy into any advantage or any underpriced stocks that may actually come at a discount. In the unlikely events that these market prices are going to correct themselves, or the stock market correcting themselves over the next couple of months. This brings us to the third and last thing that you can do in order to protect yourself and your hard-earned money, and that is to invest only in things that you have an idea of. And that is one of the critical things that Warren Buffett always consider before putting money into a portfolio. One thing that he argues is that he never puts money into any portfolios or any stocks out there that he's got no idea of. So generally, you'd see him only investing in things that he's very comfortable about. So if, for instance, you are an insurance expert and you know that there are several insurance companies that are performing out there, that is a time for you to use your expertise and the experience or the knowledge that you've gathered throughout your training to actually buy into some of these things. Of course, if you're into financial analysis or banking, that is a time for you to actually look for a couple of banks out there that might actually be very profitable for you to invest in them. Try as much as possible and then avoid areas within the stock market that you don't know much about, and simply just go in with the ties. Anytime that you hear that people are investing, for example, into Nvidia or into Google or Microsoft, you're just buying in them with no knowledge at all. That is one of the fastest ways for you to lose money. So as opposed to joining the crowd and then moving towards a certain direction, you want to pick stocks or choose things that you're very comfortable and very knowledgeable about. And so, of course, if you found value in this video, kindly smash the like button and leave comments below on anything or any topic that you might want me to touch on. Thank you for spending time with us, and see you in the next video.